Hi guys, Patrick from Santa Barbara English, Culture Part 2. Okay, so some other things that I recommend you learn about so that you can understand the people here are our traditions, our history, our holidays, and our local culture. Okay, so traditions. Traditions is very wide. We have things that we say and we do and we wear and we give at a wedding, okay? Things that we don't do or don't say at a wedding, right? When somebody dies, we have a funeral. What do we wear? What's the appropriate behavior, right? What do we do at a funeral? Sporting events. We have some major sporting events. What are the most popular ones every year? What are the popular parades? What are the popular festivals? What are some, not national holidays, like not like Christmas, but more of a smaller traditional holiday like Valentine's Day or Halloween. Okay, so traditions, always good to know. History. History is important because it helps you understand the culture at a deeper level. Okay, so one example that I like to give was I had a roommate in Japan who was Japanese, but her parents were from Korea. And when I first met her, she was telling me about some difficulties because she had a Korean name. Even though she didn't speak Korean and she had never been to Korea, it was a little hard for her in school, right? This is like 40 years ago or 30 years ago. So I didn't know anything about the history of Japan and Korea. So when she was telling me this, I didn't really understand it. But later when I learned about the history, okay. So that was difficult for you because you were born in Japan and you only spoke Japanese, but because of a Korean name, you had some difficulties. And I could understand that and I could know that friend on a deeper level, okay? We have a lot of that history here, that if you learn about our history, you'll learn the behavior of the people on a deeper level, okay? And I think those are really the important connections. If you just want to connect to people on a very surface level, I am from here, I am from here, nice to meet you, boom, that's easy, right? But if you want to connect to people on a deeper level and know their happy moments, the weddings, and their sad moments when someone dies, right? Their struggles, their love, their passion, then you really have to know the culture on a deeper level. You won't be able to understand the people on a deeper level, especially if the history that they went through is so different from yours that it just doesn't make sense. Okay? So I really recommend learning about the history. Learn the good and the bad. I don't like when teachers never mention things like racism or sexism or the negative parts of the culture because people don't like to talk about the negative parts of the culture, but the negative parts of the culture are the struggles that people go through. And if you don't understand somebody's struggles, it's very hard to understand them. Okay? Traditions, history, holidays. Um, uh, so we have, of course, we have holidays like Christmas, but because we are largely a Christian country, we have some holidays that they don't usually celebrate in non-Christian countries like Easter. Also, we have some like Halloween and Thanksgiving and some things that are uniquely American. Um, uh, and after the holidays, I recommend people learn a little bit about the local history. So one of the great things about America is how different the United States are in the different places because people came from different parts of the world. I live in California in Santa Barbara. All the street names are in Spanish because Spain used to control this area. So we have a Spanish mission. It's an old church. The courthouse here is beautiful. It's a Spanish style. And if you go to another part of America, like Louisiana, was named after King Louis. It's a French colony. The city's there, Baton Rouge, Baton Rouge, is a French colony. So their street names and the people there and their accent there is a little different. So it's nice. The local flavor is different because of the culture, because of the history. Okay, so traditions, history, holidays, local culture, local history. I recommend. 4 minutes. Okay. I also recommend people learn about the food and about the fashion. Okay, and again on a surface general level, oh, food and fashion. Yeah, but there's a lot more to that at a deeper level that's very interesting. Okay, so for example, fashion. Okay, if we're talking about fashion, we're talking about clothes and maybe weather, right? Oh, in the winter it's cold, we wear this jacket. In the summer, we blah 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 blah. But when you look at fashion more deeply, you're really studying attraction. Do people do the girls prefer to dress cute or dress sexy? Uh, do the boys prefer to look really casual or very, very sharp with nice suits and, you know, more city or more country style? More country style. Fashion and attraction is a really, really deep area. And one thing I like to tell my students is I don't think you should dress the same if you live in California and then you move to somewhere in Africa and then you move to somewhere in Asia and then you move to somewhere in South America. I really think that would be strange if I just wore the exact same clothes everywhere, right? No, because I like to sort of see the local fashion, the local attraction. Oh, people here are trying to be cute, or people here are trying to be more serious, and know what people like, and then dress that way, or even change my behavior style a little bit because I'm matching that local culture and that local language. Okay, um, food, food is another easy one that I think is a beautiful way to connect to people. When somebody knows your cooking style and your food style, uh, I feel like they really know a lot about the culture, right? And what's interesting is a lot of people, when they say, I like blah, blah, blah food, I like Italian food, or I like Chinese food, or they don't really know the food on a deep level. If they say, oh, I love Italian food, and I say, oh, what do Italian people usually eat for breakfast? I don't know. Okay, well, what do they eat for lunch? I don't know. They really only understand Italian food in their country, like in China, what they mean by Italian restaurants, right? On the other hand, if somebody has lived in Italy or studied the culture and can tell you some popular breakfasts and how they take their coffee, and they're very proud about this and they don't care about that, it's just a deeper understanding of the culture. So you can take a topic like the history or the food or the fashion and learn about it on a general level. And as you go deeper, if this is interesting for you or if that's interesting for you, you'll understand the people a little bit better, right? When I was learning about Japan, for example, I was at a friend's house and I was eating the rice and I didn't finish, and I left some rice in the bowl, right? I didn't think anything about it. And my friend's sister said, Patrick, do you want me to finish your rice? And I was, what? You want my rice? I mean, there's like 25 little rice grains. Why do you want 25 rice grains? But the sister was from an older generation, and they still remembered when, after the war or during the war, when Japan didn't have a lot of food, and rice is important. It used to be money, and it's disrespectful when somebody makes you food to not finish the rice. So I was surprised. She took my rice, she took some green tea and poured it in, and it ate it. And I remember thinking that was strange, but later I learned and I studied about it, and I thought, oh, okay, we haven't had that starvation period in California in my lifetime. So I never felt that about food. But just learning that cultural thing, I felt, wow, I know how to behave more politely now. I didn't mean to be rude and leave my rice here and pour my own drinks and things like that. But when I learned about the food culture, I was able to be more comfortable because I could act more respectfully. And I enjoyed things at a deeper level. Okay? So, traditions, holidays, histories, fashion, food. Okay? Part 3 coming up.